Can you feel it? It's time. It's time for every one of us. If we get knocked down, we won't just get up. It's time we all rise up. Rise up. When stars step up. When a dome stands up. When a city lights up. We all rise up together. Touchdown! When we come on the field, we rise up. Rise up. From kickoff to the last play, we rise up. This is our time, Atlanta. We've been knocking on the door. Now it's time to blow it up. Tell me, what do Falcons do? Rise up. What do Falcons do? Falcons rise up. That's what I'm talking about.
End zone.
What's going on, everyone? I hope y'all had a great holidays. I waited to do the show until today because, of course, Sunday I was not around. Yesterday I wasn't around really either. So before I get into yesterday's game, I want to talk about a report that actually just came out within the last 30 minutes, and I'm not really happy about it, so I'm going to share it with you guys. But Bleacher Report dropped a report about an hour ago saying that there are rumors that the win on Sunday might have saved Arthur Smith's job. Not happy about it. I'm going to show the clip. I'm going to show the article real quick, and then I'll give my opinion on it. But I'm going to give you guys the Bleacher Report article straight from the source. Give me a second and pull it up. Hopefully it's not true, but I mean, it's been a back and forth seesaw, so who knows? But let me share this up here real quick and let y'all see the article. Though the article states that there are NFL rumors that the Falcons owner is trending towards retaining the head coach Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot. So let me scroll down so you guys can get a chance to see it. The article says the 2023 season has been an inconsistent roller coaster for the Atlanta Falcons, but head coach Arthur Smith and GM Terry Fontenot are likely reported to still be a part of the ride at 24. According to Albert Beer of SI, the Falcons owner Arthur Blank is trending towards giving Arthur Smith and Fontenot another year. He pointed towards the 29-10 victory over the Colts. It showed that the team's overall ceiling with young playmakers such as Bijan, Kyle Pitts, Drake London are all making contributions. That the QB quarterback position was an issue because Desmond Ridder was benched, of course, last game, and Taylor Heinicke went 23 of 33 for 229, a touchdown and no picks, which that's our first game without a turnover. It also states that the Falcons are within the playoff picture. They're a game behind the Bucs in the NFC South, and they still have an opportunity to make the wild card. Blah, 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 blah. I just want y'all to see that part right here. Let me go back on the main screen and let you guys know what my thoughts is. Man, let me go ahead and be real about this thing. If you are a Falcons fan, been a Falcons fan forever, you knew we were going to win on Sunday. The game that we all want us to lose, or like they came out with a report that Arthur Smith was on the hot seat, going to get fired. Of course they win that game. Of course they win that game. That's Falcons for you. That is typical classic Atlanta Falcons football. When they can't score, they decide to finally put their best game of the season together. So it was very irritating to see that article this morning because I do not care what happens in the final two games. Let's also be honest about this thing. I'm going to bring this up as well. I mean, matter of fact, I'm going to bring it up now so you guys can get a chance to see it. But as that article stated, the Falcons do have a chance to make the playoffs. Let's be honest, guys. The chance is slim. You need help to make the playoffs. The Carolina loss, essentially, you're basically like you out here begging for a free ticket to get inside a football game. That's basically what the Falcons are doing. They're begging for a ticket to get into the playoffs. The Falcons have to get some help to make the playoffs. It's just simple as that. And us Falcon fans want Arthur Smith fired. Let's be honest about this thing. Desmond Ridder was a part of the problem, but let's be honest. Arthur Smith is not the solution for 2024. And he's going to cost a lot of folks their job along with him if he doesn't get this terrible play calling and terrible offense together. And that's really where it's heading to. So I want to show you guys the New York Times. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm going to hit y'all comments shortly. I just want to show this before I hit the comments real quick and get into the game that was at hand. Okay, just to share with you guys on the full screen, back to the full screen, the Atlanta Falcons have, this is recording, this has been updated from an hour ago. The Falcons currently have an 11% chance of making the playoffs. Hear that again. They have an 11% chance of making the playoffs. Do you mean to tell me that a win on Sunday saved his job? You have an 11% chance to make the playoffs, and you spent millions of dollars on a roster that you expected to win the division this year. Let's be honest. The Buccaneer win essentially sealed the fate of the NFC South. The Falcons have to hope that the Saints can go into Tampa and beat this Buccaneers. They're not beating Tampa Bay in Tampa. I'm sorry. The Bucs offense has been hot since the second half of that Falcon game 3 weeks ago. They haven't lost since. Let's be real. They've won 3 in a row. The Bucs at this point would have to have an epic collapse to not win the division. And I'm going to also show y'all the odds. This is how ridiculous our odds is. I'm going to go to show you guys this. This is New York Times. As you see, it's an 11% chance to make the playoffs. Even if the Falcons, and this is me showing y'all if the Falcons won both games, even if the Falcons won both games, that only increases your chances to 39%. We're going to bank on a 39% chance of making the playoffs. Mind you, that's without help. As you see, you will still 61% be out, 22% chance of being a wild card team, 18% chance of hosting the wild card, and no percent chance of getting a bye week. That number one seed's over. Even though San Fran lost last night, that's over. But I'm going to go down and show you guys the only way we win the division. Now, as y'all see this week 17 schedule, let's say the Bucs beat the Saints. If the Saints lose, it's over. That chance just dropped to 26%. Now, this is showing you guys if the Saints and if the Bucs dropped a game and fell to 9-8. Even if they lost a game, I'm just going to say they lost to the Panthers, they still win the division. It's 4-2 in the NFC South. So regardless, they would lose the division based on the common opponents. The Bucs whooped Jacksonville Sunday. That was the opponent the Falcons lost to. So even if they was to both finish 9-8, Buccaneers win the division based on the common opponents. So as you see, that's not even a guarantee. This is just division-wise. The only way the Falcons win the division is if, I'm going to show this again. Let's say the Panthers won week 18 and the Saints win next week. The Falcons then win the division title. That's the only way they'll win a division title. That's not guaranteed. Let's be real. The Bucs are going to win both games. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. I'm going to show y'all. We're going to keep it real. The Bucs are going to win both games. So let's go back to the Falcons' chances at 25%. Now, the Rams and the Rams, okay, so the Falcons lost to the Vikings. If the Vikings won both games, look at the chances. Because they lost to Josh Dobbs, that drops them to 5%. They're not making the playoffs that way either. So they got to beg for the Vikings to lose a game. If the Lions was to win, that takes them back up. I'm just showing y'all the unrealistic chances of us making the playoffs. Now, let's go to Seattle. Seattle got Pittsburgh at home. Pittsburgh been hot. That if the Seahawks lose, that takes the Falcons' chances to 56%. Now, if the Seahawks somehow went to Arizona and shockingly lost, then the Falcons would make the playoffs because Seattle would have lost out. But if the Seahawks win, take their chance back to 21%. They're not making the playoffs. So again, Arthur Blank is rolling with a less than 25% chance of making the playoffs by keeping Arthur Smith. It is pathetic. You guys are seeing it for yourselves. The only way the Falcons make the playoffs is if Seattle loses out. That's it. Because Tampa's going to win out. Let's just be real. But I wanted to point that up there for you guys to get a chance to see the playoff percentage that Arthur Blank is banking on. But if all of you saw the PBS interview from Arthur Blank last week, this is before we played the Colts, that interview irritated me as a Falcon fan, as a season ticket holder. He stated, and I quote, that making the playoffs was not a requirement to keep your job. Who says that? He is the only head coach that we've had that has not made the playoffs in the first 3 seasons since he's become a head coach in our last 4 to 5 head coaches. As I mentioned on the last week show, Dan Quinn went to Super Bowl year 2. Mike Smith won 5 straight winning seasons his first 5 years as Atlanta Falcons head coach. Jim Moore went to the NFC Championship game his first year with Vic. Dan Reeves went to Super Bowl in 98. Them were the last 4 head coaches. I don't count Bob Petrino. We know what happened in that situation. He quit on the team. We know that. Why is Arthur Smith getting a pass? I know we had the first 2 years is understandable. We were in the midst of moving on from Matt Ryan. Last year we didn't have any money. This year was the year you're supposed to take advantage of the division title. Sunday's victory should not change that thought at all. But that's my thoughts on the Arthur Smith article. I'm going to hit these comments before I get into the game. Let's check the comments. Bino, what's going on, man? Feeling say y'all still rising up. I don't know what they're doing each week, sir. I don't know what they're doing each week. One week they want to rise up, the next week they want to lose one of the worst teams in the league. So, who knows? Ryan was going on and said we are here for the Ritter and Arthur Smith hate. Well, you got a good dose of Arthur Smith already. Ritter, he did exactly what he should have did last week. He sat on the bench and watched the game just like I watched in my session. So, salute to Ritter. Mike Thomas, what's going on, my bro? He said Arthur Blank is a good man, but a poor owner. It's time for him to sell the team. That's just a God honest truth. I appreciate what he's done for this organization. The Falcons are a pretty well set up organization for the next owner. He cannot be the guy no more. He got to go. Plain and simple. He got to go. KD, what's going on, my bro? He said Arthur need to sell the team. Let's put our money together. Hey, listen. I would gladly not get my season tickets next year if it means us getting the team from Arthur Blank. I would gladly do that. Hey, man, all season ticket holders, let's put our money together and buy the team from Arthur Blank. Let's go. Michael Thomas said, Terry Fontenot is a top 10 GM. His job should have never been in question to begin with. That's what I didn't understand about that article either, because Terry Fontenot is showing some positive signs with his draft selections and also with his decisions as far as free agents. Because, I mean, when we get into the game, we get a chance to talk about some of the positive in the guys that are on the team. He shouldn't be up for a grab, especially when you hire the GM and head coach separate. Who does that? A dumb organization, the Atlanta Falcons. Nick Greens, what's going on, bro? He said Desmond Ritter. If Desmond Ritter is the answer in 2024, why don't y'all trade for him? And you give us Bryce Young, and that's how we gonna rock out. Atheist, what's going on, my bro? Says send Jesse. Hey, the Bengals can pay him. The Bengals can pay All-Pro Jesse, man. They couldn't pay All-Pro Jesse. Michael Thompson, I want the entire defensive staff to return regardless of who was coaching that season. Unfortunately, if Arthur Smith is fired, that will signal the end of Ryan Nielsen era in Atlanta. And I agree on that 100% too. That is the one unfortunate thing that I think the Falcons organization would do, which is going to be a bad thing. Because let's be honest, the Atlanta Falcon defense has been absolutely outstanding this year. And it's a shame that they may miss the postseason because of bad head coach and a dumb quarterback in Desmond Ritter. Because I don't know if you guys know this. The Falcons are number 6 in scoring defense. They're number 6. They're number 6. And they're 7-8. That is embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Michael Thomas said, I got 100. was KD. Tevin said we lost to the Panthers, Commanders, Vikes, Josh Dobbs, QB number 3. Man, Fire's Clown gonna give me. I feel the same way. We lost to 4 teams that was already out of playoff hunt before this week was even started. And I don't see why you're so quick to give him a pass on a team that should be in the playoffs without a question this year. Because this is me taking being a Falcon fan out the equation. Look at the talent on the roster. A top 10 defense should be in the playoffs no matter what. That's the way I look at it. You put a top 10 defense on the field, that team should win at least 10 to 11 games at minimum. But when you have a dumb head coach and one of the worst quarterbacks that we've had starting in Falcon history, I know for the Falcon fans that are out there, they're going to say, you're forgetting about Joey Harrington, you're forgetting about Byron. No, I did not forget about either of those two. They were never supposed to be the starting quarterback on this football team long term. This is a guy we drafted in the 3rd round who went out there and turned a ball more than he threw touchdowns. That's the issue we have. Darrell, what's going on, bro? Said it's torture at this point. Yes, it is. It's definitely torture at this point. And Michael Thomas said Baker will give away 1 game. That's how I feel. Even if they lost to the Saints, they're not losing to Carolina. So you're basically when you lost to Carolina, you basically put yourself behind the 8 ball of begging that someone falls to make the playoffs. You might get a couple of ducks in a row to fall in your place. But I'm going to be honest with you. While we're sitting here talking about the postseason, I'm not going to sit here and say that we're going to run away with that game in Chicago. The Bears have looked better over the last couple of weeks. So let's not go that far. Tevin, he said your head coach has been left in Carolina No, he should have been left in Arizona, not in Carolina. He should have been gone. But Arthur Blank's too nice. He's too nice to do it. Nick Green said Bryce Young in Atlanta, y'all win. I feel that way. We would have probably won at least 10 games with a better quarterback situation. I agree with that 100%. And that you got everything okay. Yeah, the team is not far off from being a good ball club. It's just the idiotic stuff that's going on in the front office and at QB. Felix said the devil is that's a mad thing, you guys. I'm gonna skip past that. Byron said I will join you in buying the Falcons. Hey, come on. Hey, anybody want to pitch in on buying these Falcons from Arthur Blake? Please do. Let's get this. He's done a good job. He's in his 80s. It's time for him to go sit down, sit on the yacht, and go chill out somewhere. You do not need to be here. Let's go ahead and let's take Rich McKay with you too, please. Or Rich McKay, go up there and work with Roger Goodell, because that's what you should be doing anyways. Mike said, man, look at the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco's the QB of a top 10 defense, and they're making the playoffs. Bro, Nick Chubb went down in the first 4 weeks. They're down their franchise running back, their quarterback they paid $230 to, and they're in the playoffs. And might make some noise in the playoffs. They may win a playoff game. I'm just going to go far because the AFC isn't as strong as people may think it is. This is going to be the year where it's up for grabs for anybody. So it's crazy. Nick said, well, Nate, we beating Tampa. Hey, man, you probably could, because I think if they win next week, they win the division. I think the division will be over regardless. So they may chill out on their starters since they got wild card weekend. I can see y'all beating the Panthers. The Buccaneers. Myers going on my bro. He said that's a good point. Harrington and Leftwich was never supposed to be the starters that year. Ritter was given a job for the job. Yeah, there wasn't even a quarterback competition. With the situation with Harrington and Leftwich, we all thought Vic was going to be our quarterback until the media came out and said, oh, your quarterback going to jail. For you non-Falcon fans, imagine how you felt, us Falcons fans felt. We was going to training camp and Vic went to jail. This all happened the same week. We went to training camp. We had just traded Matt Schaub to Houston Texans because we just knew Petrino and Vic were going to work out, which is still crazy to me. That should have probably worked out, but that's a topic for another day. Myers said, I know the chances aren't great, but isn't it possible for a new head coach? I know. This is the thing that is tricky about the Arthur Smith firing, because if you do fire Arthur Smith, I don't want us to lose Nielsen. We've already let another good defensive coordinator and Jeff Ulbrich lead the door with Dan Quinn. He's now ushering a top 10 defense in New York with the Jets. So it's tough. And let me hit this comment before I get into the game. Oh, man, Philly said, put me in charge of, man, you do more than being in charge of the food stands. We got you, bro. We got you. But let me pull up. I want to show some of the highlights from the game, actually, and just talk a little bit about the game as we go on and hit some of the stats. But let me pull it up real quick. Let me go full screen, and we're going to go live from here. Let's get started. Hold on. Let me go back. Come back to the main screen. All right, we starting off early into the second. And that was a great talk about DeMarco Hellams. DeMarco Hellams is really starting to emerge as a talented safety. He might be better than Richie Grant. I think it's on the open the drive. Also, they let Bijan Robinson get loose a lot more in this ball game. I was happy to see that. It should have been that way all season long. Now, I'm not going to lie, guys. I thought this was going to be an interception. That was a dot from Taylor Heineke to Kyle Pitts to tie the game up. So, by the way, Kyle Pitts has his third touchdown reception of the year, which is sad. He's finally getting involved in the offense. It's sad. But this is a shame. We should have been going through this all season. And this is just a replay of that touchdown. Again, he got that ball where nobody else could throw it. I think Des Ridder threw a pick. Anybody in the comments that agree with me, I'm sure y'all agree. But this is just showing some defensive plays. And this defense, by the way, shout out to Zach Harrison, the Ohio State rookie. He's been balling the last couple of weeks. He's had like 3 sacks over the last couple of weeks. And as you see, also, they go Arnold Ebiketie. He got in the sack department. We're starting to see some improvement from those young guys. Arnold Ebiketie and Zach Harrison could potentially be the DNs of the future for sure. And here goes a play in the end zone. This was a great play by Kyle Pitts. That was actually a bad throw by Taylor Heineke. But again, this is the potential of the roster that you have. Okay, this was a screen. I don't know how in the world he got this screen off on that play. That was a great play too. Just showing some of the comments as we go along. And this Tevin's talking about Zach Harrison from The Ohio State University. This is another play from Taylor Heineke. Now, he actually made a great play right here by just extending the play here. Anybody else saw us back? Yes, I was saying, please don't get a safety. Please don't get a safety. So that drive settled for a field goal. And as you see again, there goes Kaden Ellis, who's also one of the guys that came in this offseason. Let me say, Terry Fontenot has done an excellent job bringing in these guys this offseason on defense. And I'm not going to lie, Youngho scared me because, he had them 2 missed field goals against the Buccaneers. So I was a little nervous about him going into this game. And again, I love the fact that you started getting that underneath game going. As you saw, Bijan Robinson, you give Bijan Robinson the ball, he can do a lot with that football. So you have to really get him involved. Now, this was a great play call. And Tyler Algier, I always wish he was so much faster. Every time he gets a lane, he's going to make a play. I love me some Tyler Algier. And I love the fact that they need to continue to get those two going because you actually have something working in that run blocking scheme in that offensive line. So, yeah, that put us up by 13. This is this replay. That was great blocking. By the way, I got to give props to Storm Norton, who's been the backup right tackle since Caleb McGarry went out. He's been playing excellent at right tackle. He hasn't missed a beat. And also, as you see, there was a good play by Richie Grant, and they ended up forcing a fumble, but he stayed. I think it ended up being incomplete, if I'm not mistaken. No, that drive ended up driving the field some. So, and also, as you see, Calais Campbell, man, guys, I wish Calais Campbell was not 36 years old because he is the prototypical guy that the Falcons have been needing. This was also another big play on 3rd down and 14. Jonnu Smith made an excellent play. Jonnu's been actually getting involved in his offense too. Like I said, the offense is actually talented. It just it irritates you at the fact that we're 7-8. That was a great play as well. Myers said we need to go ahead and turn over everybody on the offensive line except Bergeron and Lindstrom. Matthews ain't done yet, but we need his replacement. Oh, by the way, this is All-Pro Jesse Bates with the interception. Jesse Bates, thank you, Cincinnati, for not re-signing him. This is one of he arguably could be the best thing that the Falcons have ever had. And I know a lot of the old school fans say Scott Case, but hey, we weren't alive to see Scott Case balling. But this is a great run by Bijan Robinson as well, too. Bijan Robinson makes a lot of plays that you probably like, man, how is he making this play? Because what's going on? Peak Plum Princess is checking in. She said he did that. Richie Grant actually got involved with the sacks. That's another thing that this Falcon defense has been able to do this year. They've been able to get after the quarterback. Excuse my screen. Let me take this off the screen. All right, I'm back. But Falcons won 29-10. Let me go pull up the statistics. And Byron Lancaster said it's just Ohio State University bomb school and college. Hey, y'all guys chill out, man. I know y'all gonna talk trash on college football, man. This is big week 2 for college football. I'm looking forward to it. But let me go to the stat line from the game and pull up the box score. Let's start off with the QB statistics for the game. Gardner Minshew. Let's go throw this coming up here. Yes, sir. I stamped this 150,000% to fire Arthur Smith. That doesn't change my tone. Fire Arthur Smith. I need to get a t-shirt made of that. If anyone want to bless with a Christmas gift on that, you let me know. But anyways, Gardner Minshew had 20 of 31, 201, no sack, no touchdowns, and a pick. The defense had 6 sacks. That's incredible. Taylor Heineke, 23 of 33, 229, and a touchdown. Bijan had 12 of 72. Algier was 9 of 69. The Falcons' rushing attack went for 177 yards on the ground. As you can see, Jonathan Taylor, 18 of 43 with a touchdown. He had that opening drive that was just too easy after that defense locked in. Minshew had 4 of 31. Tyler Goodson had a carry. And over to the receiving, Bijan Robinson actually led the team in receiving of 7 of 50. Kyle Pitts was 3 for 49. Drake London 3 for 39. John 4 for 32. Kind of balanced for the passing attack. As far as the Colts, Kylan Granson 5 of 62. Will Mallory had a couple catches. Josh Downs was held in check. Alec Pierce was pretty much held in check, so they didn't really get a chance to get going on the ground. Taylor Heineke had a fumble, but he did recover it. So did Will Mallory. He fumbled and had a recovery as well. EJ Speed led the Colts in tackles. Zaire Franklin was behind him. Juju Brents and Kenny Moore, they both had 6 tackles each. Quaddy Pay, the second-year guy out of Michigan, had a sack for the Colts. Let's look at the Falcons' defensive stats. Caden Ellis had 10 tackles, a sack, 3 forced tackles, and a QB hit. Caden Ellis, I don't know how New Orleans said about their locker room. Caden Ellis is solid. Him and Nate Landman, who was, as you see, is the second leading tackler from Sunday's game. They are exactly who the Falcons needed. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. For you Falcons fans that are watching, I don't know if Troy Anderson keeps his job long term. Because Nate Landman and Caden Ellis has proved that they're just as solid. You might go get you another linebacker this offseason, but those 2 guys are great. They're great. They're all over the field. They were steals. By the way, Nate Landman was on our team last year, but he didn't get a lot of reps because we had what's his name from used to be with the crap. I forgot his name that fast. But I think you all know who I'm talking about. His name's gonna come to me in a moment. But we had another middle linebacker in their place last season, so it was Rashawn Evans. He was the middle linebacker last year, but them 2 guys are solid. DeMarco Hellams, the 7th round pick. Let me say this again. 7th round pick has been balling. He was a safety at Alabama. Yeah, Darrell said, yeah, Troy Anderson definitely lost his job. I was thinking that earlier. Yeah, he definitely lost his job. He'll be more of a rotational guy. DeMarco Hellams was a 7th round pick. That guy is solid. I actually like him better than I like Richie Grant. To me, the Falcons actually did a really good job in the 23 draft class. And they're starting to see a couple of guys from the 22 class starting to come along as well, too. Richie Grant, he also had 5 tackles. Jesse Bates, 6 tackles, 4 solo, 2 pass breakups, and he had a big interception. Jesse Bates is the type of safety this Falcon organization have needed for years. He's on pace already to be one of the best safeties the Falcons have ever had. And that is no joke. He's on that pace. Let's look at the rest of the guys. AJ Terrell, of course, he's been solid. Bud Dupree got in and got a tackle for a loss. Zach Harrison, another rookie. He was a 3rd-round pick. We'll repeat that again. He was a 3rd-round pick this draft. Zach Harrison has been absolutely outstanding for this Falcon defense. And he's going to probably have a bigger role next year along with Arnold Ebiketie. Them two could be developed into something special. Now, I will still go get me a legitimate pass rusher, but honestly speaking, those 2 guys have the potential to be really solid long term for the Falcons. Let's see. Mike Hughes had 3 tackles. Also, another guy that the Falcons drafted this class, Clark Phillips, 4th-round pick out of Utah. Clark Phillips should have never fell to the 4th round. He should have been a 2nd-round pick at least. Clark Phillips is a great coverage corner. He has some solid breakups on Alec Pierce on the outside and Josh Downs. He had a couple solid breakups. He's actually been solid the last couple of weeks that he's played. He did a pretty good job against Chris Godwin when they came here a couple weeks ago. He was solid against Buddy from, I think he wasn't on Thielen, or was he? Yeah, he was on Thielen. He did a pretty good job against Thielen against Carolina as well. He may end up being CB2. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't keep Jeff Okudah long term. I think he should be brought back as well. But to me, he might be emerging as cornerback number 2 for the foreseeable future. And we're going to get a chance to see him over the next 2 weeks, see how he do against the Bears and the Saints. Let's see who else in the tackle category. Lorenzo Carter had 2. Calais Campbell, 3 tackles, a solo 1, a sack and a half, 3 QB hits. I say it again. Calais Campbell is the type of veteran that we need. I'm going to really miss having him on this roster because he is at the back end of his career. I really wish that we could have got Calais a couple of years earlier. But he's a really good, talented defensive tackle / defensive end, future Hall of Famer. But he's been really solid for the Falcons. I have to say that for sure. But, of course, Jeff Okudah had a tackle, Lakel London, Albert Huggins, and Biketti had a half sack. David Ayamata was back, and it definitely showed. They did an excellent job against Jonathan Taylor. By the way, you see on the side, the attendance shows that the attendance percentage was 69,221. That was a bold-faced lie. That was not 69,000 people in that building. I'm going to be honest with you guys. A lot of folks didn't show up to that game. Part of it had to probably do with Christmas Eve. A part of it had to do with this fan base is sick of how this team has looked. But I guess so, 69,000. It may have been 66 or 67, but not 69. I'm sorry. Not trying to say y'all lying, but y'all lying. Jesse Bates, as you see, he had the interception. D. Offer had 3 punt returns. Young Ho was 5 of 5. He's probably going to win NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. He was 5 of 5. He had a rebound game this week. And again, as you see, the Falcons have the best defense in the division. They've been outscored by 1 point, as you see by our standings right there at 7-8. We're in 2nd place right now. And that's the end of the statistics. But again, like I said, the Falcons got 2 games left against Chicago and New Orleans. They will not have another home game unless they magically make the playoffs. I still think that Arthur Smith's job should be on the line. And if we somehow drop on the road at Chicago, don't be surprised if you start hearing those reports fire up again that he's out of here. Because once again, the Falcons should have had a better season they're having right now. A 7-8 record is actually embarrassing considering the improvements that's been made defensively. The Falcons, again, like I told you earlier, the Falcons are 6th. And I'm looking at the statistics, I'm telling you. They're number 6 in points allowed, number 9 in yardage, number 5 in first downs allowed, number 8 in passing yards allowed. They're top 10 in touchdown passes. They're decent as far as stopping the run. They're 15 in rushing yards, number 2 in rushing touchdowns, number 9 in yards allowed per game. But your offense is 24th in scoring. These are the things that cost you along the line. They're on the bottom half of passing. So these are the things that are becoming the issue for the Falcons. The Falcons' defense has been really solid all season long. And they'll probably finish solid for the next 2 weeks. But that's really my thoughts on the situation for the Falcons right now. As I said, they got a good win to stay alive for now in the playoff picture. I'm not really putting too much into the playoffs because, again, I want Arthur Smith going out of here. He need to go. But also, the game also told me that Taylor Heineke is not our quarterback either, but it shows you the potential of this roster with better QB play. But again, I think Desmond Ritter's days have been sealed. We probably will never see Desmond Ritter as a starting quarterback in a Falcon uniform again. Unless Taylor has to get hurt again for him to step on the field. But even with that being said, I think that the Falcons have sealed their fate as far as the Desmond Ritter move. As far as Desmond Ritter being our guy, they're going to probably move on from Desmond Ritter altogether. He'll probably be a backup. But, yeah, the Falcons are sitting at 7-8. I just look forward to see what happens going forward. I actually want to show you guys maybe one of the early mocks at the moment. I'm just going to point this up here from, I think it's from SI. We're going to show this real quick. I'm just going to show one today because since we're still alive, I'm just going to give them that respect. But from Sports Illustrated, the first mock that I've seen, we're right now currently 10th in the top 32. Even with a 7-8 record, the Saints are still ahead of us at number 11. They have the Falcons potentially going after Romeo Adunes, the wide receiver out of Washington. He is an outstanding wide receiver. However, I don't think that the Falcons need to make a first-round pick their receiver unless the Falcons are planning to go address getting a veteran quarterback in free agency or so. So that's a conversation we'll have after the last 2 weeks. But Falcons won. I hope that these guys know that you don't have a lot of – it's a slight chance, but let's see how they finish the season out. Will they finish and try to save the head coach job? Will they lose next week and get them up out of here? We'll see. It's week by week with the Falcons. But appreciate y'all for tuning in with the comments and everything. As I said, the Falcons got the 7-8 on the season, and they have a game Sunday at Chicago against Justin Fields and company. But with that being said, you all have a great rest of your day. I hope your Christmas was amazing, and you'll see me on here Sunday afternoon after the Falcons game. Until then, rise up, enjoy the rest of your week.
Can you feel it? It's time. It's time for every one of us. If we get knocked down, we won't just get up. It's time we all rise up. Rise up. When stars step up.